DPWH, 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 DPWH. Ang maglingkod ng tapat, gantimpala'y karangalan, tunay na yaman, gagalangin kailanman. Works and highways, matibay ang samahan, budhi ang sandigan, laging maninindigan.
Seat that has been filled here today. As we gather for our meeting activity, we glorify you for all the blessings you have bestowed upon us. May you bless the hearts and minds of every member of the Bids and Awards Committee, Technical Working Group, and BAC Secretariat, as well as the prospective bidders who are present here today and the viewers. Continue to cover us with your mantle of protection. All this we ask through Christ our Lord. Amen. Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Mia. Since our PAC chairman is still not yet around because he is presently attending meeting in Tugigaraw. So the vice chairman, yours truly, will be the one again to preside for this morning procurement activities. So before we will start the procurement proper, may I request our BAC Secretariat to do the roll call and to determine whether we have a quorum or not.
Thank you, sir. Good morning to everyone. Let us have the roll call of the attendance for this opening of bids for 5 civil work projects. Let's start with our Bids and Awards Committee. Our Vice Chairperson, Engineer Rolando Torrida. And the members, Engineer Mario Natividad, Ma'am Emeline Orteza, and Engineer Julian Castro Jr. From the BAC Technical Working Group, headed by Engineer Marjan Chris Gulia, and the members, Engineer Wilkins Garcia, Engineer Flordan Fernando, Engineer Gilmar Vega, and from the BAC Secretariat, headed by yours truly, Christian Ragirag, and the members, Mr. Michael Raybiado, Mr. Gilbert Concordia, Ms. Aisalab Orenya, Ms. Carla May Espergal, and Ms. Christine Sadam. Let us also acknowledge the presence of the representatives of our prospective bidders. First, from JG Akas Construction Supply and Equipment Rental, we have Ma'am Angelica Cabanglan, and together with her, Ma'am Marjorie Dante. From CMG Junior Builders, Ma'am Mary Jane Pizarro. And from Flavi Civil Engineering Construction, Ma'am Chona Bumaga. Mr. Chair, with the majority of the members of the Bids and Awards Committee present, we have a quorum.
Okay, thank you, Engineer Ragirag. So, to start with, we will have the first project with contract ID number 23BC0252, Sustainable Infrastructure Projects, Alleviating Gaps, a multipurpose building, facilities to support social services. Construction of multipurpose building. It's a gymnasium in Barangay Libertad, Abulug, Cagayan. May we know from our backsec if how many interested bidder for this project?
Mr. Chair, for contract ID number 23BC0252, as of 10 o'clock this morning, November 22, 2023, the scheduled deadline for submission of bids, we have 2 participating bidders. Submitted their proposal manually. We have KBL Builders Construction and Oliva Design and Construction. And no bid received via electronic submission, Mr. Chair.
And we will now open their technical component.
Technical proposal from Oliva Design and Construction for contract ID 23BC0252.
For the technical proposal of Oliva Design and Construction, may I request Engineer Castro to evaluate their proposal.
And technical proposal from KBL Builders Construction for contract 23BC0252. And Mr. Chair, let us acknowledge the presence of Engineer Joselito Basig, another member of the Bids and Awards Committee, and Ma'am Amelia Ragsak, member of the Technical Working Group.
While waiting for the result on the evaluation of their technical proposal of the 2 interested bidder for 23BC0252, we will now proceed to the next project with contract ID number 23BC0253, Sustainable Infrastructure Projects, Alleviating Gaps. This is a SIPAG, a multipurpose buildings, facilities to support social services, construction of multipurpose building. This is NRHU at Barangay Libertad, Abulug, Cagayan. So may we know again from our backsec if how many interested bidders for this project?
Mr. Chair, for 23BC0253, we have received 2 proposals via manual submission from Mighty Fortress Construction and KSC Construction Services, and no bid received via electronic submission, Mr. Chair. Technical proposal from KSC Construction Services for contract ID number 23BC0253.
For the technical components of KSC Construction Services, may I request Engineer Joselito Basig to evaluate their technical proposal?
And technical component of the proposal submitted by Mighty Fortress Construction for 23BC0253.
For the technical proposal of Mighty Fortress Construction, may I request Engineer Kevin Bundao to evaluate their technical proposal?
Mr. Chair, under contract ID number 23BC0252, the technical proposal of KBL bidders pass the preliminary evaluation.
Thank you. Engineer Natividad.
Mr. Chair, likewise to Oliva Design Construction, he passed the preliminary evaluation on his technical proposal for contract ID number 23BC0252.
Thank you. Engineer Castro. May I request the BACSEC to process their electronic eligibility of the two participating bidder. While waiting again for the result on the technical proposal of the two contractors for 23BC0253, we will now again proceed to the third project with the contract number 23BC0254, Convergence and Special Support Program, Sustainable Infrastructure Projects, Alleviating Gaps, and access roads and or bridges from the national roads leading to major strategic public buildings, facilities, concreting of road at Barangay Gidam, Abulug, Cagayan. May we know again from our BACSEC if how many interested bidder for this project?
Mr. Chair, for 23BC0254, we have received 3 bid proposals via manual submission from Dandex Construction, from Flavi Civil Engineering Construction, and from JPO Builders and Construction Supply, and no bid received via electronic submission.
Mr. Chair, for contract ID 23BC0253, submitted by Mighty Fortress Construction, passed the initial evaluation on its technical proposal.
Thank you. Engineer Bunnaw.
Also, Mr. Chair, for contract ID 23BC00253, KSC Construction Services passed the initial examination on his technical proposal.
Thank you. Engineer Basik. May I now request the BACSEC to process their electronic eligibility of the two participating bidder.
Mr. Chair, technical proposal from Flavi Civil Engineering Construction for contract ID 23BC0254.
For the technical proposal of Flavi Civil Engineering Construction for project 23BC0254, may I request Engineer Marjen Gulia to evaluate their proposal.
And technical proposal from Dandex Construction for 23BC0254.
For the technical proposal of Dandex Construction, may I request Engineer Wilkins Garcia to evaluate also their technical proposal.
And lastly, for 23BC0254, technical proposal from JPO Builders and Construction Supply.
For the technical proposal of JPO Builders and Construction Supply, may I request Engineer Flordan Fernando to evaluate their technical proposal. So while waiting again for the result of their technical proposal of the three participating bidders in contract ID number 23BC0254, we will now proceed to the fourth project with contract ID number 23BC0255, Sustainable Infrastructure Projects, Alleviating Gaps, a multipurpose building facilities to support social services, construction of multipurpose building, a training center in Barangay Libertad, Abulug, Cagayan. Again, may we know from our BACSEC if how many interested bidder for this project?
Mr. Chair, before we proceed, let us acknowledge the presence of Auditor Joed Orata, representative from Commission on Audit.
Welcome, Odi. Thanks for your presence.
And to continue, sir, for contract ID 23BC0255, we have received 3 bid proposals via manual submission. First from CMG Junior Builders, second from JG Akas Construction Supply and Equipment Rental, and third from Dandex Construction. And no bid received via electronic submission, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we will now open their technical proposal of the 3 interested bidder.
Mr. Chair, the technical proposal of Flavi Civil Engineering Construction under contract ID 23BC025254 passed the preliminary evaluation.
Thank you, Martin.
Mr. Chair, likewise, for the submitted technical proposal of Landex Construction under contract ID 23BC0254, Landex Construction passed the preliminary examination.
Thank you.
Also, Mr. Chair, for JPO Builders and Construction Supply, the technical proposal submitted passed the preliminary evaluation under contract 23BC0254.
Thank you, Engineer Fernando. May I request again our BACSEC to process their electronics eligibility of the 3 participating bidders.
Mr. Chair, for contract ID 23BC0255, technical proposal from Dandex Construction, and technical proposal from CMG Junior Builders, and lastly, for 23BC0255, technical proposal from JG Akas Construction Supply and Equipment Rental.
For the technical proposal of JG Akas Construction Supply and Equipment Rental, may I request Engineer Castro to evaluate their proposal. For the technical proposal of CMGJR Builders, may I request again Engineer Kevin Bunao to evaluate their technical proposal. For Dandex Construction, may I request Engineer Basig to evaluate their technical proposal. So while waiting again for the result of the 3 participating bidders for 23BC0255, we may now proceed to the 5th but not the least project with contract ID number 23BC0256, Convergence and Special Support Program, Sustainable Infrastructure Projects, Alleviating Gaps, Access Roads and or bridges from the national roads leading to major strategic public buildings facilities. Concreting of Barangay Road at Barangay Santa Rosa, Abulot, Cagayan. Again, may we know from our back secretariat if how many interested bidder for this project?
Sorry for that, Mr. Chair. And for the last project, 23BC0256, we have received 3 bid proposals from the 3 participating bidders. Via manual submission, we have JG Akas Construction Supply and Equipment Rental, and J. Aureliano Construction, and KBL Builders Construction. and no bid received via electronic submission, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we will now open their technical proposal.
Technical proposal from JG Akas Construction Supply and Equipment Rental for contract ID 23BC0256.
For the technical proposal of JGACAS Construction Supply and Equipment Rental, may I request again Engineer Marjan Gulia to evaluate their technical proposal.
And for our second bidder for contract 23BC0256, technical proposal from KBL Builders Construction.
For the technical proposal of KBL Builders Construction, may I request Engineer Wilkins Garcia to evaluate their technical proposal.
And technical proposal from J. Aureliano Construction for contract 23BC0256.
For the technical proposal of J. Aureliano Construction, may I request Engineer Flordan Fernando to evaluate their technical proposal.
Mr. Chair, the submitted technical proposal of JDACAS Construction Supply and Equipment Rental passed the preliminary evaluation for contract ID number 23BC0255.
Thank you. Engineer Castro.
Mr. Chair, for contract ID 23BC0255, technical proposal submitted by CMG Junior Builders passed its initial evaluation.
Thank you. Engineer Bunao.
Mr. Chair, as per evaluation of the technical documents of Dandex Construction, he passed the initial examination on his technical documents.
Thank you, Engineer Basik. May I request again our back secretariat to process their electronic eligibility of these three participating bidders.
Mr. Chair, the technical proposal from JG Akas Construction Supply and Equipment Rental under contract ID 23BC0256 passed the initial evaluation.
Thank you, Engineer Gulia.
Mr. Chair, also for the submitted technical proposal of KBL Builders under contract ID 23BC0256 passed the preliminary examination.
Also, Mr. Chair, J. Aureliano Construction passed the preliminary evaluation under contract 23BC0256.
Thank you, Engineer Fernando. Again, we will now request the BACSEC to process the electronic eligibility of the three participating bidders. So that's all for the evaluation on their technical proposal. So do we have now the result of electronic eligibility of the first project so that we can now proceed in the opening of the financial component?
Yes, sir. I have here now the result of the eligibility screening in the DPWH civil work application for contract 23BC0252 with the two participating bidders, Oliva Design and Construction and KBL Builders Construction. As to their legal aspects, and based on the submitted PhilJEPS registration certificate, Annex A, attached to their technical proposal, all their legal documents are valid and updated. But in the registry of the civil work application, KBL Builders Construction needs to update his BIR tax clearance certificate and the PhilJEPS registration certificate. And for technical and financial aspects on the category buildings construction without piles, low-rise concrete frame, 1 to 5 stories with an ABC of 19,500,000 pesos. Oliva Design and Construction has a valid pickup license and pickup registration. Passed the required work experience with SLCC and passed the required NFCC. For KBL Builders Construction, has a valid pickup license and pickup registration based on the submitted PhilJEPS registration certificate Annex A, but in the registry of the civil work application needs to update his pickup license. He passed the work experience due to pickup license size range small b and passed the required NFCC. With this, Mr. Chair, the two participating bidders are eligible for this contract.
Okay, thank you. We may now open the financial components of the two interested bidders.
Financial proposal from the two eligible bidders for contract ID 23BC0252 from KBL Builders Construction and from Oliva Design and Construction.
For the financial proposal of Oliva Design and Construction, may I request Engineer Marjan Gulia to evaluate their financial components. For KBL Builders Construction, may I also request Engineer Wilkins Garcia to examine and evaluate their financial components. So while waiting for the result on the evaluation of the two participating bidders, may we now proceed to the second project with ID number 23BC0253. So may we now know the result on the electronics eligibility processing of the two participating contractors.
Electronic eligibility screening for 23BC0253 in the DPWH civil work application with the two participating bidders, Mighty Fortress Construction and KSC Construction Services. As to legal aspects, KSC Construction Services has valid and updated legal documents based on the registry of the civil work application and based on the attached PhilJEPS registration certificate Annex A. While for Mighty Fortress Construction, although based on the PhilJEPS registration certificate Annex A, all the documents are updated, but in the registry of the civil work application, needs to update the records for mayor's permit, DTI registration, BIR tax clearance certificate, and the record for PhilJEPS registration certificate. For the technical and financial aspects, based on the category buildings construction without piles, low-rise concrete frame, 1 to 5 stories, with an ABC of 7,800,000 pesos. For Mighty Fortress Construction, again based on the PhilJEPS registration certificate, he has a valid pickup license and pickup registration. However, needs to update the registry of these documents in the civil work application. And pass the required work experience with SLCC And with the attached audited financial statement dated 4/12/2023, he passed the computation for the required NFCC. For KSC Construction Services, valid pickup license and pickup registration, passed the work experience due to pickup license size range small b, and passed the required NFCC. With this, Mr. Chair, subject for Mighty Fortress Construction to update is records in the civil work application and request for unlocking and reprocessing. The two participating bidders are eligible for this contract.
Okay, thank you, Engineer Girat. We will abstract first the bid of the first project, the two contractors.
Mr. Chair, the financial proposal submitted by Oliva Design and Construction under contract ID 23BC0252 passed the preliminary evaluation.
Mr. Chair, likewise for the submitted financial documents of KBL Construction under contract 23BC0252, KBL Builders Construction passed the preliminary examination.
Okay, proceed on the reading of the bids.
To abstract contract ID 23BC0252, the contract name Convergence and Special Support Program, Sustainable Infrastructure Projects, Alleviating Gaps, Strategic Public Buildings or Facilities, Multipurpose Buildings or Facilities to Support Social Services, Construction of Multipurpose Building, Gymnasium at Barangay Libertad, Abulug, Cagayan. The approved budget for the contract is 19,500,000 pesos with a contract duration of 246 calendar days. The first bidder, Oliva Design and Construction, submitted a bid security in the form of bid securing declaration notarized by Attorney Maisel U. Donaire, dated November 16, 2023, and Oliva Design and Construction submitted a total bid amount of 19,305,054 pesos and 71 centavos. No discount offered with a contract duration of 246 calendar days.
For our second bidder, Mr. Chair, KBL Builders Construction, he submitted a bid security in the form of bid securing declaration notarized by Attorney Adela S. Guillermo Soriano on November 20, 2023. And KBL Builders Construction submitted a total bid amount of 19,430,216 pesos and 29 centavos. No discount offered for a contract duration of 246 calendar days.
Okay, thank you, Engineer Culia and Engineer Garcia. So the lowest bidder for this project is Oliva Design and Construction with a total bid price of 19,305,054 pesos and 71 centavos. And it is subject for post-qualification of the technical working group. Okay, we will now open the financial component of 23BC0253.
Mr. Chair, financial proposals from the two eligible bidders for contract ID number 23BC0253. First from KSC Construction Services, and the second is from Mighty Fortress Construction.
For the financial component of KSC Construction Services, may I request Engineer Wilkins Garcia to examine and evaluate their financial component. And for Mighty Fortress Construction, may I request again Engineer Marjan Gulia to evaluate their financial components. So while waiting again for the result and the evaluation of the financial component of the two participating bidder, we will now proceed to the next project with contract ID number 23BC0254. May we know again from our backsec the result of the electronic eligibility of the three participating bidder.
Result of electronic eligibility screening in the civil work application for contract ID 23BC0254 with the three participating bidders, Dandex Construction, JPO Builders and Construction Supply, and Flavi Civil Engineering Construction. As to legal aspects, and based from the Annex A of the attached PhilJEPS registration certificate in their technical proposals, the three participating bidders have valid and updated legal documents. However, in the registry of the civil work application, Dandex Construction needs to update the BIR tax clearance certificate and the registry for PhilJEPS registration certificate. The rest are all updated. And for their technical and financial aspects, on the category Roads Construction PCCP with an ABC of 19,300,000 pesos. Dandex Construction, again based on the Annex A of the attached PhilJEPS registration certificate, has valid pickup license and pickup registration. However, needs to update the pickup license in the registry of the civil work application. And pass the required work experience with SLCC and pass the required NFCC. For JPO Builders and Construction Supply, pickup license and registration are valid. Pass the required work experience with SLCC and pass the required NFCC. For Flavi Civil Engineering Construction, pickup license and registration, valid and updated. And pass the required work experience with pickup license size range small b and pass the required NFCC. With this, Mr. Chair, the three participating bidders are eligible for this contract.
Okay, thank you, General Girat. We will now first abstract the bid of the two participating bidder on project ID number 23BC0253.
Mr. Chair, the financial proposal from Mighty Fortress Construction passed the initial evaluation.
Mr. Chair, also for KSC Construction Services, the submitted financial proposal for contract ID 23BC0253 passed the preliminary examination.
For the abstract of contract ID 23BC0253, the project name, Convergence and Special Support Program, Sustainable Infrastructure Projects, Alleviating Gaps, Strategic Public Buildings, Facilities, Multipurpose Buildings, Facilities to Support Social Services, Construction of Multipurpose Building, RHU at Barangay Libertad, Abulug, Cagayan, with an ABC of 7,800,000 pesos and a contract duration of 169 calendar days. The first bidder, Mighty Fortress Construction, submitted a bid security in the form of bid securing declaration notarized by Attorney Adela S. Guillermo Soriano, dated November 16, 2023, and Mighty Fortress Construction submitted a total bid amount of 7,710,083 pesos and 50 centavos. No discount offered, with a contract duration of 169 calendar days.
For our second bidder, Mr. Chair, KSC Construction Services submitted a bid security in the form of bid securing declaration notarized by Attorney Mia Katrina U. Ogale on November 17, 2023. And KSC Construction Services submitted a total bid amount of 7,715,028 pesos and 77 centavos. No discount offered for a contract duration of 169 calendar days. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Engineer Garcia and Engineer Culia. The lowest bidder for this project is Mighty Fortress Construction with a total bid of 7,710,083 pesos and 50 centavos. And it is subject for post-qualification of the technical working group. So we will now open the financial component of 23 BC 0254.
Mr. Chair, the financial proposals of the three eligible bidders for contract 23 BC 0254. First from JPO Builders and Construction Supply. Second from Plavi Civil Engineering Construction. And third from Dandex Construction.
For the financial component of Dandex Construction and Plavi Civil Engineering Construction, may I request Engineer Martin Gulia to evaluate their financial components. And for JPO Builders and Construction Supply, may I also request Engineer Wilkins Garcia to evaluate their financial proposal. So while waiting again for the result on their financial component, may we now proceed to the next project with contract ID number 23BC0255. May we now know the result of the electronics eligibility of the three participating bidders.
Result of electronic eligibility screening in the DPWH civil work application for contract ID 23BC0255 with the three participating bidders, Dandex Construction, CMG Junior Builders, and JG Akas Construction Supply and Equipment Rental. As to legal aspects, and based from the attached PhilJEP's registration certificate Annex A with their technical proposals, the three participating bidders have valid and updated legal documents. However, in the registry of the civil work application, Dandex Construction needs to update the BIR tax clearance certificate and the PhilJEP's registration certificate. Likewise, with JG Akas Construction Supply and Equipment Rental, needs to update the BIR tax clearance certificate and the PhilJEP's registration certificate. And on their technical and financial aspects, on the category buildings, construction without piles, low-rise, concrete frame, 1 to 5 stories, with an ABC of 40,950,000 pesos. Dandex Construction has a valid pickup license and pickup registration based on his PhilJEP's registration, but in the registry of the CWA needs to update his records with his pickup license. Again, pass the required work experience with SLCC and pass the required NFCC. For CMG Junior Builders, pickup license and pickup registration valid, pass the required work experience with SLCC, and pass the required NFCC. And for JG Action and Supply and Equipment Rental, has a valid pickup license and pickup registration, but needs to update his pickup license in the CWA. pass the required work experience with SLCC, and pass the required NFCC. Again, Mr. Chair, subject for unlocking and reprocessing in the CWA, these 3 participating bidders are eligible for this contract.
Okay, thank you, Engineer Girard. We will abstract first the financial component of the 3 participating bidder for contract ID number 23BC 0254.
Mr. Chair, the financial proposals submitted by the 2 participating bidders, Dandex Construction and Flavi Civil Engineering Construction, passed the initial evaluation on their financial proposal.
Mr. Chair, the submitted financial documents of DEO Builders and Construction Supply passed the preliminary examination.
Okay, proceed on the reading of their bid.
To abstract 23BC 0254, contract name is Convergence and Spatial Support Program, Sustainable Infrastructure Projects, Alleviating Gaps. Access roads and or bridges from the national roads leading to major or strategic public buildings or facilities. Concreting of road, Barangay Giddam, Abulug, Cagayan, with an ABC of 19,300,000 pesos and a contract duration of 119 calendar days. For the first bidder, Dandex Construction submitted a bid security in the form of bid securing declaration notarized by Attorney Maizel U. Donaire, dated November 14, 2023, and Dandex Construction submitted a total bid amount of 18,919,576 pesos and 62 centavos. No discount offered, with a contract duration of 119 calendar days. The second bidder, Flavi Civil Engineering Construction, submitted a bid security in the form of bid securing declaration notarized by Attorney Adela S. Guillermo Soriano on November 16, 2023, and Flavi Civil Engineering Construction submitted a total bid amount of 18,808,665 pesos and 65 centavos. No discount offered, for a contract duration of 119 calendar days.
Mr. Chair, for our third bidder, JPO Builders and Construction Supply, submitted a bid security in the form of bid securing declaration notarized by Attorney Mia Katrina U. Ogale on November 16, 2023. And JPO Builders and Construction Supply submitted a total bid amount of 19,155,250 pesos and 02 centavos. No discount offered, for a contract duration of 119 calendar days. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Engineer Culia and Engineer Garcia. The lowest bidder for this project is Flavi Civil Engineering Construction with a total bid amount of 18,808,665 pesos and 65 centavos. And it is subject for post-qualification of the technical working group. So we may now proceed in the opening of the financial component of the 3 participating bidder for ID number 23BC 0255.
Mr. Chair, financial component of the proposals given by the eligible bidders for contract 23BC 0255 from JJ Yakas Construction Supply and Equipment Rental, from Dandex Construction, and from CMJ Junior Builders.
For CMG Junior Builders and Dandex Construction, may I request Engineer Garcia to evaluate their financial component? And for JJ Yakas Construction Supply and Equipment Rental, may I request again Engineer Marjan Gulia to evaluate also their financial component. So while waiting for the result on the evaluation of the three prospective bidders, may we now proceed to the last project with contract ID number 23BC0256. And may we know from our BACSEC the result on electronic eligibility of the three prospective bidders for this project.
Result of electronic eligibility screening in the civil work application for contract ID 23BC0256 with the three participating bidders, JG Yakas Construction Supply and Equipment Rental, J. Aureliano Construction, and KBL Builders Construction. As to legal aspects, and based from the Annex A of the attached PhilJEPS registration certificate with their technical proposals, the three participating bidders have valid and updated legal documents. However, in the registry of the civil work application, JG Yakas Construction and Supply and Equipment Rental needs to update his BIR tax clearance certificate and his PhilJEPS registration certificate. Again, also with KBL Builders Construction needs to update his BIR tax clearance certificate and the PhilJEPS registration certificate. For technical and financial aspects on the category Roads Construction PCCP with an ABC of 9,650,000 pesos. JG Yakas Construction Supply and Equipment Rental has a valid pickup license and pickup registration. However, needs to update his pickup license in the CWA. Pass the required work experience with SLCC and pass the required NFCC. For J. Aureliano Construction, valid pickup license and pickup registration. Pass the required work experience with SLCC and pass the required NFCC. For KBL Builders Construction, valid pickup license and pickup registration, but needs to update the pickup license in the CWA. Pass the required work experience with SLCC and pass the required NFCC. With this, Mr. Chair, the three eligible bidders, the three participating bidders are eligible for this contract. However, we should request for unlocking and reprocessing in the CWA.
Okay, thank you, Engineer Aguila. We will first open and abstract the bids on the three participating bidder for contract ID number 23BC0255.
Mr. Chair, the financial proposal submitted by JG Yakas Construction, Supply and Equipment Rental passed the preliminary evaluation.
And also, Mr. Chair, for the submitted financial proposals of Dandex Construction and CMG Junior Builders under contract ID 23BC0255, both passed the preliminary examination.
Okay, proceed in the reading of the bids.
And for the abstract, contract ID 23BC0255, contract name is Sustainable Infrastructure Projects Alleviating Gaps, Multipurpose Buildings or Facilities to Support Social Services, Construction of Multipurpose Building, Training Center at Barangay Libertad, Abulug, Cagayan, with an ABC of 40,950,000 pesos and a contract duration of 270 calendar days. The first bidder, JG Yakas Construction, submitted a bid security in the form of bid securing declaration notarized by Attorney Maizel U. Donaire, dated November 21, 2023. And JG Yakas Construction submitted a bid amount of 40,540,236 pesos and 77 centavos. No discounts offered, with a contract duration of 270 calendar days.
Mr. Chair, for our second bidder, Dandex Construction submitted a bid security in the form of bid securing declaration notarized by Attorney Maisel Yu Donaire on November 21, 2023. And Dandex Construction submitted a total bid amount of 40,075,835 pesos and 61 centavos. No discount offered for a contract duration of 270 calendar days. For our third bidder, CMG Junior Builders submitted a bid security in the form of bid securing declaration notarized by Attorney Adela S. Guillermo Soriano dated November 21, 2023. And CMG Junior Builders submitted a total bid amount of 39,781,957 pesos and 20 centavos. No discount offered for a contract duration of 270 calendar days. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Engineer Garcia and Engineer Culia. So the lowest bidder for this project is CMG JR Builders with a bid amount of 39,781,957 pesos and 20 centavos. And it is subject for post-qualification of the technical working group. So we will now open the financial component of the three participating bidders for 23BC 0256.
Mr. Chair, financial proposal from the three eligible bidders. From JJ Akas Construction Supply and Equipment Rental, from KBL Builders Construction, and from J. Aureliano Construction.
Mr. Chair, the financial proposals submitted by the two contractors, KBL Builders Construction and J. Aureliano Construction, passed the initial evaluation.
Mr. Chair, likewise for the submitted financial documents of our third contractor, JJ Akas Construction Supply and Equipment Rental, passed the preliminary examination.
To abstract, contract ID 23BC0256, contract name, Convergence and Spatial Support Program, Sustainable Infrastructure Projects, Alleviating Gaps, Access Roads or Bridges from the national roads leading to major strategic public buildings or facilities, concreting of Barangay Road at Barangay Santa Rosa, Abulug, Cagayan, with an approved budget for the contract of 9,650,000 pesos and a contract duration of 103 calendar days. For the first bidder, KBL Builders Construction submitted a bid security in the form of bid securing declaration notarized by Attorney Adela S. Guillermo Soriano, dated November 21, 2023. And KBL Builders Construction submitted a total bid amount of 9,582,454 pesos and 4 centavos. No discount offered, with a contract duration of 103 calendar days. The second bidder, J. Aureliano Construction, submitted a bid security in the form of bid securing declaration notarized by Attorney Sheila Marie R. Rivera Agtang, dated November 21, 2023. And J. Aureliano Construction submitted a total bid amount of 9,572,804 pesos and 43 centavos. No discount offered, and promised to finish the project for 103 calendar days.
And Mr. Chair, for our third bidder, JG Yakas Construction, Supply and Equipment Rental, submitted a bid security in the form of bid securing declaration notarized by Attorney Maizel U. Donaire, dated November 21, 2023. And JG Yakas Construction, Supply and Equipment Rental submitted a total bid amount of 9,553,058 pesos and 64 centavos. 9,553,058 pesos and 64 centavos. No discount offered, for a contract duration of 103 calendar days. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Thank you.
9,553,058.64.
Engineer Culya and Engineer Garcia. So the lowest bidder for this project is the Yakas Construction, Supply and Equipment Rental, with a bid amount of 9,553,058 pesos and 64 centavos. And it is subject for post-qualification of the technical working group. So that ends our procurement activities for this morning. May we know from our BACSEC if we have some announcement regarding our next procurement activities.
Mr. Chair, for our next procurement activity, we will have a private conference for the early procurement activities for 4 projects under CY 2024. And on Tuesday, November 28, 2023, we will have an opening of bids for 7 2023 projects. Tuesday, November 28, sir. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Are there still any announcement for this morning before we will adjourn our meeting? So if there is not, may I ask Engineer Aguirre to
Mr.
adjourn?
Chair, being no more bids to open and no other